Happy December, and that means sales tallies for the automotive industry are starting to roll in. It is, well, what's interesting is that I believe December 1st counted for the last day of November. That's why we're a few days in at this point. We're finally getting some sales tallies for the automakers here in the United States. If you're wondering where I'm at, I am in Franklin, Tennessee. I'm driving a bunch of Nissans today and tomorrow, and it's a lot of fun. All right, I have already posted my Nissan Qashqai driving impressions, which has the third gen e-power hybrid that will debut in the United States under the Nissan Rogue hybrid. Cannot wait for you guys to sample that video, but also cannot wait for that hybrid technology to debut in the Rogue stateside. Is going to do wonders for Nissan. But Nissan does not report monthly, they report quarterly, so I don't have numbers for them. But what we're going to do in today's video is focus on the largest automaker in the world, that is Toyota, of course. Well, they actually tripped up a little bit, all right, and we're going to detail that today. But before we do, we need to look at the big picture. Where is the market? Who's doing well? At least the ones that are reporting. And then we'll dive into Toyota model by model, RAV4, Highlander, Sienna, all that one by one. And before I get too far into this sales, I need to bring this to your attention. Save the date. There's a live stream of all new sports models. This is on the Lexus newsroom, meaning this car in the background is 100% a Lexus. This could be a Lexus 2 over here. Keep that in mind. Don't discount this as not a Lexus. Lexus needs a GT3 race car, but maybe Lexus pulls out of racing and it's just Gazoo racing from here forward. It's entirely possible. This is the new GR-GT car right here. You can see the hood slots that we saw in the teaser, the same taillights. These are the same taillights of the concept car I saw in Japan. Okay, the Lexus Sport EV concept. I thought it was an EV, but now we're hearing that it could have the twin turbo V8. We want it to have the twin turbo V8. No one wants it to be an EV. But yes, I'm not sold on these silhouettes. These silhouettes are giving me muscle car vibes instead of Batman car vibes. All right, muscle cars are fine. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love muscle cars. But I don't know if it, I mean, you could say the 2000 GT kind of had muscle car vibes from back in the day from Toyota. Let me know if you guys are getting muscle car vibes. I'm not going to be able to live stream this because this is 8 p.m. on my wife's birthday, December 4th. I don't know. I can't predict when I'll be able to share this information, okay? But just stay locked in the channel. I'll update you guys as soon as I possibly can on these models. Or if we look at Ford at the top, they're at neutral for the month of November, okay? That is stalling their 11-month surge up to now, all right? Things are heading the wrong direction. Lincoln is just a sorry company right now. They've been negative many months in a row. They started the year hot, but they might not end the year positive if they continue to slide. If you look overall, because Lincoln's down so much, Ford in general is down. Their EVs are down like 60% this November versus last November, of course, because of no EV tax credit. And I will do a different video for Honda and Acura. I just don't have the time. I'm here for Nissan, so I'm just kind of sneaking this in before, I drive a bunch more Nissans here in a little bit. Anyways, Acura down 1%, but look at Honda down 17%. This is what I was fearing. Now I'm going to have to break down again Honda and Acura in a separate video because that's going to be a lot of interpretation that needs to go on there. But wow, what a slide for Honda. Genesis is starting to lose their momentum, barely up on the month, even though they've had a good year so far, up 11%. Hyundai down 2%, Kia up 2%. Overall, Hyundai Motor Group is Hyundai Kia here about neutral on the month. Still up 8% on the year, but the market is starting to slow down, which I've been predicting, and it's, I think, going to continue to slow down as we get into 2026 and beyond. I think we could see a big slowdown in the market, absolutely. Cars just cost so much money. All right, Mazda down 1.5%. Mazda was on pace to break last year's all-time sales record, but they're heading in the wrong direction. So unless they have a monster month of December, they're not going to beat last year's sales record like they thought they were going to. Tariffs play a big role into that. If tariffs weren't a part of the equation, Mazda might be a lot, well, they would be a lot better off than they are. Lexus down 6%. Lexus was on pace to have a record breaking year. Now, look, last year, Lexus did have a record breaking year, and they're still up 7%, but they're starting to crack. We'll try to figure out today what models are starting to lose interest. Toyota up 4% on the month. Again, Toyota, they're not completely immune from the market slowing down. I don't have day supply information quite yet, but that should trickle in here in the coming days. All right. Now, Lexus could be hamstrung by GX supply, for example. There could always be something outside of what we see here hampering these companies. But anyways, that's all I have to report on the general scoreboard. Let's get into the specific Toyota and Lexus spreadsheet. Toyota's cars are down on the month barely. Look at this, minus 0.3%. That's just their cars. It's not their SUVs or anything like that. Corolla up 15% on the month. That is massive. Up 4% on the year. Supra, it's that final volume disappearing. Okay, rest in peace, Supra, until they make an in-house Supra. Well, unless they collab with Mazda or something. Which, by the way, the new GR86 and Mazda Miata are expected to be brothers instead of a Subaru BRZ. All right, GR86 up 15%. Mirai, whatever. No one has hydrogen available. Well, I shouldn't say no one, but 99.99% do not have hydrogen. So Mirai doesn't. It's whatever. Crown, up 85% on the month. Now, I just drove the Crown. It's fantastic. It just cost a ton of money. It's like, well, at what point just get a Lexus ES while you can before the ES gets transformed into something else, for better or for worse. Maybe better for China, but not worse for just about every other market, what the ES is evolving into. The Crown sedan has had a good last few months, but look at the year. It's down 41%. Prius is in the absolute tank right now. Why? Well, tariffs. It's only made in Japan. And you have a much more affordable Corolla available, and you have a more spacious and overall better car than the Camry. The Camry is better than the Prius. It costs about the same as the Prius. The Prius just has sex appeal, but it's really small on the inside. Okay, and the wind, it feels a bit claustrophobic. Prius does have better seats than the Camry, though. Anyways, Prius up 32% on the year, but down 40% on the month. That car's just been, ever since this new 6th gen Prius launched, there's been recalls, availability, it's just been crazy. Lexus okay, we'll head into Lexus here in a little bit. Let's get back into Toyota crossovers. Well, the BZ's down. I saw my first BZ non-4X on the road today, and it looked pretty good. Minus 26% on the month. They just haven't had availability, but the new ones are already being discounted at dealerships. So that's wild. It just came out. Toyota RAV4 down 4%. This was expected to happen. The RAV4 is switching over production, okay, from the current model to the new model, and that takes time. They assemble it in 3, maybe even 4 different places. Japan, it is assembled, I believe, in two different plants and neighboring plants in Canada, and then it's also made in Kentucky. So the RAV4, it's gonna be down probably for the next 4 or 5 months, and then it's going to be guns blazing for the new RAV4 hybrid only. I really want to drive the LE model. The LE model is going to be that bargain play, which again the Camry LE is just an insane buy, and it is for $3-4 grand less than the new RAV4 LE. So something to consider, even though it has the same powertrain. The RAV4 up on the year, which it had a record-breaking year last year, sold 475,000 units or something wild like that. It's not going to break last year's record because it's going to continue to go down in volume due to production shifting over. That's my theory anyways. Corolla Cross, down 3%. interesting. It's up 6% on the year. So what's going on? Well, here's my theory on this. It is made in Alabama alongside of the CX-50 from Mazda. I think there's some sort of agreement going on. Mazda's like, hey, our only lifeline to avoid tariffs is the American Alabama made CX-50. Toyota might be like, okay, you can have 5-10% more production capacity for the CX-50 to avoid some tariffs, and we'll take a hit on the Corolla Cross. That is just my guess. Trying to find a Corolla Cross hybrid is almost impossible. Like, it's really, really hard to find one. And if you do find one, you're going to pay full price, if not over MSRP for one. And just go get a Nissan Kicks. Like, don't waste your time. It's, it's so expensive. Or just get a RAV4. Just get a Camry or a Corolla hybrid over a Corolla Cross hybrid. Corolla Cross hybrid's great. But like I said, they're really, really hard to find. And it's just easier to get another hybrid within Toyota or from the competitors. All right, meaning like you can get a Sportage hybrid, which has more power and sometimes better fuel economy than a Corolla Cross and more space and everything for about the same price, sometimes less in a Sportage hybrid than a Corolla Cross hybrid. Anyways, we need to keep moving. This problem is going to keep affecting the Corolla Cross until it goes full hybrid, which, here's the thing, Toyota has mentioned that if we go back to the Corolla here, the next gen Corolla is going to be building hybrids in Mississippi. Previously that they were all coming in from Japan. So the fact that we have Corolla hybrids being made in America, there's a good chance that Corolla Cross will see more hybrid production, and it's inevitable because the batteries coming out of North Carolina, they're going to have so many of them to make endless amounts of hybrids. Toyota just announced recently billions of dollars investment into multiple manufacturing facilities around the United States where they build e-axles for hybrids, where they build gasoline engines for hybrids, etc. Okay, so they're building up the infrastructure for more hybrids in America so that the Corolla Cross has better availability, that the Corolla will have for the first time North American hybrid production, etc. It's exciting times for sure, but it's going to be a few years before that comes to fruition, essentially, maybe 2-3 years. Crown Signia, up on the year, up massively on the year, 152%, down 52% on the month. You got to keep in mind the Crown Signia was launched later in Japan. It was here like a full year before, and they call it the Crown Estate. My theory is that they only have so much production for Crowns, whether it's sedan, the real sedan in Japan, the Crown Sport, the Crown Signia, whatever it is. They only have so much production, and America is not a priority. Even though I love the Crown Signia, it's beautiful, I love the wagon, Toyota seemingly is just sending a lot more Crown crossovers, what they call a sedan in the United States and what they call a crossover in Japan. This model, look how much it's up. And the Crown Signia, look how much it's down. So they're just like, it's just weird. I think they're just sending most of the Crown Estates, aka Signia, to Japan and other markets. That's my theory anyways. I don't know. It's just weird. Venza, rest in peace, /Harrier, it's still available in Japan. Highlander, until it goes full EV, it's still made in Indiana. It's down 40% on the year. Had an okay month though. All right, so it seemingly has hit rock bottom, the Highlander. But we'll see what happens when they make it full EV. Hopefully they don't make it full EV. Hopefully they're like, hey, 10-15% are going to be fully electric, which is too high in my opinion. But they have to make them, or at least they think they have to make them due to the CARB states or the old CARB regulations. They all just need to be hybrid or plug-in hybrid, and just make them all in Kentucky, the new Highlander. But at that point, it's like, why don't you just cancel it and just make more Grand Highlanders? It's just I think Toyota's going to have such a strange lineup in the coming years, because you have the BZ, you have the BZ Woodland, you have the CHR, those are all EV. You have the new Highlander EV coming out. Those are all going to be really low demand, super low demand, okay? And And meanwhile, you have all these hybrid and gasoline alternatives that are way cheaper in theory, all right, because the BZ is getting discounted quite heavily and it just launched. Anyways, Grand Highlander up 73%. Why? You had a stop sale last year because of a recall, safety recall. It's up almost 100% on the year. Forerunner down 5% on the year, but it's up 33% on the month. They keep churning these things out of the Tahara plant in Japan. They only sold, am I getting this right? These numbers aren't even making sense. And they're not reporting it properly here. All right, they only sold 300. That can't be. There's no way that this is accurate. Okay, they sold 300 Forerunners last year this time of year. That's hard to believe. All right, but if that's the truth, these percentages are way off. It would be like 3 million% up, 10,000 versus 300. You guys know what I mean. Sequoia, minus 2% on the year. It's up 11% on the month. The Sequoia hasn't been recalled yet. The engines, the hybrid powertrain has not been recalled, where the non-hybrid has, the twin turbo V6 has in other models. Land Cruiser J250 down 10%, but up 72% on the year. I think they're having issues with production on the Land Cruiser as well as the GX. As we see the GX down 15%. This is why Lexus is down, guys. The GX is up 25% on the year, but it's down 15% on the month. Why? I know I'm skipping around, or I shouldn't skip around. We'll get to that in a second. I'm not done with Toyota here. Sienna, down 6%. It's up 36% on the year. It should be up more than 6%. I heard production, or I thought Toyota said production on the Sienna was going to be up 70% this year. But it's only up about 35%. And this month it took a turn in the wrong direction. Not sure what's going on with the Sienna. Last time I looked, availability is still really low on it. So there could be some sort of production restrictions. Not quite sure what's happening, to be honest. Tacoma down 4%. I don't know how much of the Tacoma is fleet sales. I would have to believe an immense amount of Tacomas have been sold as fleet, meaning to rental companies, to businesses, things like that. All right, it's up 46% on the year. It's still pacing. Guys, it is still pacing. I just want to make sure. Yeah, okay, I've been looking at volume the whole time, not DSR. That is correct. I don't care that much about DSR. But if I just look at pure volume again on the Tacoma this month, down 4%. Are they running out of fleet customers? That's a possibility. I mean, the sheer volume they're pumping out of the two factories in Mexico, Baja and Guanajuato, is just mind-blowing. And the Tacoma will have a record-breaking year this year. There's no doubt about it. It's very fascinating. I don't know what else to say about it other than the sheer volume here is staggering for the Tacoma. And I honestly don't see that many new Tacomas on the road. I see way more new Camrys on the road than I do Tacomas. And if you look at sales volume, the Tacoma this year sold 250,000, and the Camry's at 280,000. So I should see them about 1-to-1 ratio, and I just don't. I almost see more newer Tundras than new Tacomas. And I get that the Tundra's been out maybe a year or two longer than new Tacoma, but you guys know what I mean. Like, shall we move on to Lexus? So Toyota was up 4%, Lexus was down 6%. Let's start with the cars. Look at the IS. IS was up on a DSR, but down on a volume basis. IS up 2% on the year. The refresh isn't even out yet. What does that tell you? Well, I think the IS just has a great reputation. It's a beautiful car. Super reliable. It's fun to drive. I'm a little bit too big for the IS. I like the GS, rest in peace, the GS a little bit more, but IS is still great, and I can't wait for the refresh coming in January. The sales are just going to go up, assuming they can supply the IS. We'll see. Something to share with you guys about Lexus division highlights here. We saw a top five model year-over-year growth for the LC, total LC convertible. You got to keep in mind this. I just heard LC. I don't know if it's 100% true. I would assume it is, but I heard LC production has ended. All right, and so people are gobbling up the last of the LCs. So they had the best month ever, or best year-over-year month ever for the LC. RCF, rest in peace. The V8's gone. TX plug-in hybrid, such low volume. What does it matter? Right. So anyways, just felt like sharing that. Let's get back to the spreadsheet. RC's dead. ES, well, you could say ES is dead. Time will tell, though. ES going fully electric, in theory, at launch. That's what I've heard behind closed doors, I guess you could say, is that it's launching as an EV first, which it's not a competitive EV. It doesn't charge that fast. I mean, it's slower than the BZ Woodland, and it will cost more than a BZ Woodland. All right, you might be saying, Kirk, it's nicer on the inside. It's this and that, but like BZ Woodland looks 10 times better than an ES, the new ES, I should say. The old ES is a timeless design. I think many of you would agree, and it's losing its traditional 3-box sedan identity as it's becoming this kind of crown crossover with a Lexus badge with weird styling inside and out. I'm still very conflicted over the ES, but I would say mainly disappointed. I haven't driven it yet. Time will tell. It's not out on the market, so these sales don't reflect that. However, production is ending, or may have ended recently in Kentucky. And you can see volume down on the month of November for the ES. And it's down a lot. It's down on the year as a result too now. So not looking good for the ES, and the new model is not going to have the sales rebound. It's crazy. It's like the only sedan left, the only true sedan left for Lexus until, I don't know, is the IS. And the IS is old as dirt. So it's like they put all their eggs into the ES basket to replace the LS, to replace the current ES, to replace the old GS, even though it's not sporty whatsoever. Is it going to do it? Only time will tell, but it doesn't look good for the new ES in today's market, with EVs not having a snowball's chance to be successful unless something major happens. And the ES doesn't have any cutting edge technology. In fact, it's launching with outdated technology. All right, in terms of charging anyways. It's 400 volt architecture, charges slow, et cetera, et cetera. I don't need to go into it. Rest in peace, LS, LC, rest in peace. And despite Lexus not having a good month for sedans or coupes, well, I mean, they were down 20%. So, I mean, that's because that ES volume just whoosh, gone as production ramps down. It's just sad, really, really sad. So, and as a result, Lexus sedans are down 5% on the year, 20% on the month. Let's go to Lexus crossovers. UX, down 27% on the month. But here's the 2026 Lexus UX 300H. And I don't think, okay, auto leveling headlights is new for 26. Available thematic ambient lighting on the top trims. Ultra white added, and that's about it. That's all that's new for this UX. Now, the UX was the first vehicle launched when I worked for Lexus, okay? It was the UX, and then it was the new ES at the time. It's crazy that we're getting a new ES before a new UX. What I've heard from the dealers side of things is that the UX is being replaced with a baby GX styled vehicle. It will be body and frame, I don't know. But what I want is the Land Cruiser FJ to be rebadged and gussied up for a Lexus to be the new entry-level Lexus to replace the UX. That was a lot. But the UX, as we go back to sales, completely evaporated for sales. Gonzo. I mean, look, they only sold 400 units. It's a joke of a vehicle at this point. It's down 2% on the year, but down 27% on the month. It's good that it's all hybrid now, but it was worse when they had the front wheel drive non-hybrid option that had the CVT. Like, it drove like a Corolla. And if you guys watch my channel this year, you know I don't like the non-hybrid Corolla. It drives very poorly. You have to floor that thing everywhere for it to respond. All right, unless you put it in sport mode, then it's always just like loud and obnoxious. But regardless, the UX hybrid only, it's not enough. It's too small, way too small for America's entry-level Lexus, and it's not premium enough. It doesn't have any performance to it. Like the Prius and the Corolla Cross are better vehicles and cost a lot less. That's the problem with the UX. It's smooth, it's quiet, but it's way too expensive. And the sales show. All right, if we look at the NX here, down 13% on the month. Wow, it's had a great year, up 4% on the year. It's turning in the wrong direction. Not good. RZ, well, they've had issues just like the BZ getting the newly updated models to the market, and no one's going to care about this car. There's so many better EVs out there than the RZ. It's smooth, it's quiet. The UX is those two things, but it's very expensive, and just get a BZ if you want a Toyota EV. BZ looks better anyways. I can't believe that I'm saying that, but it does. All right, the RX. Wow, even the RX is down 8%. One of my viewers reached out to me. They were deciding between a Mazda and an RX. They got an RX. It's beautiful. Still not my cup of tea. I'd rather have an NX, but if you guys can get good deals on an RX right now, I know you can. Last time I looked, there are tons of RX turbos. Tons of them. You name your price for an RX turbo right now. RX hybrids, forget about it. Same thing with NX. Forget about it. Those things have such high demand right now. And there's third generation hybrid technology behind the Camry and the new RAV4. They need fifth gen as soon as possible, and the demand will just, again, be insane. So I think they're having issues supplying the hybrids for the NX and RX, and that's why the volume's down, and people don't want the turbos in volume. Some people do. Some people do, all right? And that's fine if you do, because you're going to get a great deal on a non-hybrid RX right now. TX up 70%. Again, like the Grand Highlander, it was on stop sale last year, so no surprise. Up 100% on the year. Look at this TX volume. It's almost beating the NX in volume. That is mind-blowing. The TX is taking all the competition to the woodshed. The TX isn't even that good. It's just big and has a Lexus logo on it. Like, the Grand Highlander is like the same vehicle, a little bit louder, not quite as good ride quality, but it's a lot cheaper, and you can get more hybrids available on the Grand Highlander, and the controls are better in the Grand Highlander, and the Grand Highlander looks better than the TX. It's just, man, the TX has so many years of pent-up demand because Lexus hasn't had a true three-row family crossover. And it's still flawed, the TX, because not only do you have the Grand Highlander, but the Grand Highlander hybrids can be had, and they can all be had with minimum 7 seats, if not 8 seats, and the Grand Highlander hybrids. The TX, there's like, no. No, if you want the hybrid, you only get 6 seats. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Lexus GX, minus 15% on the month. Again, there's something going on in Japan, Tahara, where they build these things that doesn't allow them to produce to meet the demand. The Land Cruiser's down 9%, GX down 15%. It's crazy. If the GX had the volume that is needed, they could be selling easily 4,000 units per month. Like, easily. I could see the GX selling almost as many TXs right now. But the availability is just not there. Getting a GX is really hard to do right now. Could it be due to the twin-turbo V6 recall? I mean, look, I'd even cover Tundra. All right, Tundra's down a lot this year. Well, 7% on the year, down 15% on the month. Toyota's still having issues with this twin-turbo V6. Is that affecting the GX production? It could. But you might be saying, Kirk, the Land Cruiser doesn't have that twin-turbo V6. That's true. That's true. I don't know. Lexus LX down 30%. Why? It's having a great year. It's up 7%. Again, there's something going on in Japan. It might be the twin-turbo V6 issues, and they're just reducing production volume because they're probably going to have to replace or there's a possibility, when I say probably, there's a possibility that they might have to replace the engines on all these GXs, LXs, and Tundras. So they're like, shoot, let's just shrink down production on these things until we know what's going on. That's just a theory. But this, down 30%, down 15%, down 15% again on the Tundra, is very fascinating. So overall, Lexus SUVs doing good, right? Well, sort of, minus 3%. Lexus sedans down 20% on the month. Overall, Lexus down 6%. Overall, Toyota up 4%. Um, you know, Toyota is still in such high demand that they're going to be just fine. The new RAV4 isn't even on the market yet. And they just have so much. This is Toyota's strength. They never messed up with EVs. They have always given the customer what they wanted. I guess you could say they have messed up with EVs to an extent, but they never like overextended themselves to push EVs. Yes, we have the CHR, Woodland, refreshed BZ, all that stuff, Highlander EV, all that coming, but they will make as many of those as the market demands. All right, not what the government, well, the old government wanted. Okay, so they'll have those products and they'll be able to ship more of those products for other markets like Europe, who loves EVs for better for worse. I mean, they love them and the governments love them too. And if you have the infrastructure for EVs, then maybe it makes sense. In the United States, it just is way too difficult at this point in time to have EVs as the like taking over instead of gas cars or hybrids. So all right, well, anyways, I gotta shut it down there. I gotta rest my voice. I gotta get ready. It's getting dark outside. I gotta get dinner and then edit some more videos tonight. Oh, wow. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more. You're probably watching this in the morning, so it's just kind of time travel. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. And stay tuned for that big reveal for Toyota and Lexus sports cars in the next 2 days. Holy cow. I cannot wait. Have a great day, guys. Peace.